Today I'm taking you to Iceland, one of my favorite places on planet Earth. Last July I led a group of 7 photographers on a 8-day trip through the remote Icelandic Highlands and also spent an extra week with my fiancée exploring other parts of the island. This video is part 1 of an Iceland mini-series where I will walk you through some of the shots I captured and explain how I approach different scenarios and light conditions. Hi everyone, what's going on? If you've never been to Iceland, people will usually tell you 2 things. It's expensive and you can experience all 4 seasons in a single day. I've been visiting Iceland for almost 10 years now, and this time the weather was a bit stranger than during my past visits. I don't remember having so many sunny days in a row with puffy clouds and blue skies. It was very unusual. So from a landscape photography standpoint, this sometimes made it challenging to capture something great. At the same time though, we have many other productive sessions with unique weather conditions. The first shot I want to show you is from a sunset session we had on the first day of the trip. Although it might look like a drone shot, I actually took it from the top of a crater where my students and I were exploring all the possibilities the landscape revealed to us. As you can see here, I played with light and shadow and the simple color palette of orange and blue tones that creates a very strong color contrast. I really enjoy how every tiny detail falls into place so organically. It was around 10:30 p.m. when I led the group along the steep and sketchy path of the edge of the crater lake. The hike to reach the top of the crater wasn't too long, and in doing so, we gained about 100 extra meters of altitude. From up there, you get a 360-degree view of the vast crater's area around. It's truly amazing. That incredible light lasted for nearly an hour. And that's one of the unique things about shooting in Iceland during this time of the year. That's pure magic. To get a similar view, it would have been easier to just launch a drone and capture some aerial shots, but my goal is always to fully experience the moments and push myself and my students to step out of our comfort zone to create something more personal and unique. Think about it. The energy we put in is what makes our accomplishments truly matter. So hiking up and standing atop the crater with the group, taking in that breathtaking view, it was absolutely stunning. There is no drone that can match the feeling of being there in person, with the wind in your face and the sheer magnificence of it all. This is another one from the same location, a beautiful panorama captured by Alex, one of the participants. I really enjoy how he framed the entire scene and how the tiny figure adds a great sense of scale and makes you feel like you are actually there. Here is another image I captured from the same position. There is a higher complexity in it. I'm pretty happy with how the elements come together, and the compression of the telephoto helps balance the different weights. For those of you who have been following my channel for a while already know how much I love using a telephoto to capture intimate landscapes. I talk a lot about it in my videos and blog. This lens really helps you to tighten your composition by focusing on just a portion of the scene, limiting the overall distractions and telling many different stories of the same big landscape. From my personal perspective, the real magic of Iceland isn't its grand areas, but in the details. So we had a lot of fun experimenting with the beautiful, warm, dynamic light. The low angle of the sun really highlighted the full dimensionality of the landscape. It's important while shooting to look around and be open and reactive to the spontaneous moments that might happen. A quick plug for my workshops. I'll be returning to Iceland next year for the Iceland Workshops 2025 edition. So if you enjoy my photography and are interested in photographing these amazing places with me, I'd love to have you join me on this incredible trip. You can register for the priority list to receive a notification when book is open and have a chance to sign up before the workshop is listed on the website. As always, the link is in the description down below. Okay, shooting beautiful lights can make things a lot easier, but it doesn't always guarantee amazing photos. Let me show you a couple of shots I took in tricky light conditions and how I adjusted my approach to make them work. Visiting the Highlands involves a lot of driving, so for some locations we visited along the way, the light wasn't always ideal, especially when you have a clear blue sky over you. When dealing with that type of light, I immediately avoid trying to capture wide vistas and instead focus on smaller sections of the landscape. I know it might not be easy, but I believe there are always unexpected opportunities hidden behind those challenges. For example, here we were heading back from Landmannalaugar and decided to stop by a large lake. As you can see, the light was harsh as hell, but I noticed these lovely arrangements of lava in the distance. I love the colors, textures, and that scenes really remind me of a lizard sipping water from a puddle. So I captured these interesting shots, which I called, of course, the lizard. Next time I would love to explore the area further and hopefully in better light conditions. Here is another close-up shot from different locations a bit further away. At first glance, lighting-wise, the overall scene might not seem very inspiring, but as photographers, our goal is to look beyond the surface. There is no such thing as bad light, just light that may not be ideal for a particular subject. So always stay open to possibilities and different interpretations. Another interesting location we shot was this marsh. The blue sky, the water reflections, and the vibrant greens were absolutely beautiful. The group spread out in different directions and began working the scene. This type of location offers a wide range of opportunities, and on this particular occasion, we had to be very mindful of the light and how to simplify the foreground. I managed to get a couple of decent shots. This is the first one, which is, let's say, okay, but the foreground felt a bit heavy. I'm not sure, it just seems a bit much. I wanted to show off more of those beautiful reflections and really draw people into the scene. So I moved to a slightly different position and reframed the shots to balance things out better. I played around with the grass, trying to create this nice path for the eye to follow right up to the mountains. However, the light was still a bit too harsh on the foreground, and there was this annoying bit in the middle where things were overlapping. To solve this first issue, I just waited for some clouds to give me a softer light in the foreground. Usually, once I'm happy with the framing, what I like to do when I have time and the light is changing is capturing multiple shots as the light changes and then go through them in Lightroom to find the image that I think has the best lighting setup for that particular scene. Then, to solve the second issue, I nudged my tripod up a bit to separate those elements, just a few centimeters, and here's the final shot. It's amazing how these little tweaks can really make a shot come together. Here are the two versions side by side, and you can clearly see how the midground has more breathing room. Landmannalaugar is one of my favorite locations to visit in the Highlands, and it offers endless opportunities. Most of the time I go to lenses, guess what? A telephoto, which I use about 90% of the time. The weather in this area usually changes quite rapidly, and embracing these shifts is really key to get very interesting and unexpected results. During our visit, we got mostly overcast conditions. Cloudy days can provide a soft, diffused light that helps minimize harsh shadows and highlights, resulting in more balanced exposure across the scene. This type of light is ideal for capturing the texture and subtle color variations in the landscape. However, this type of light can also make the scene look flat if not handled properly. Many people think all overcast days are the same, but there are different types of soft light, and they are actually quite different. The key to capturing great photos on these days is to make sure the light has some sort of directionality. Even without the sun completely peeking through, directional soft light is important to add depth to your images. This happens when the cloud cover is thinner in one area, allowing a bit more light through. For example, this shot was taken in very flat light conditions. There is no clear directionality of the light, which is exactly why the image lacks depth. All the elements seem to belong to the same focal plane, which is not ideal. In contrast, in these shots we have light slightly filtering through gaps of clouds, creating a softer yet directional light. This adds a beautiful and gentle contrast to the scene. While more challenging, the harsh midday light can also work well in Landmannalaugar, creating strong contrast areas that can emphasize the rugged textures of the lava fields, something we have already seen in the previous examples. Something to bear in mind is that harsh light can wash out the colors quite a lot. For example, here is a drone shot captured by Alex in harsh light conditions, and here is a shot I took a few days later from the same location on an overcast day. As you can see, the moss here on the shot on the right has much richer colors. They are both weight shots, but those are variables you always have to consider. If there is one place in Iceland that feels like you have stepped onto another planet, it has to be Klingerfjord. Apologize for the bad pronunciation. This stunning location somewhat resembles Landmannalaugar. This location was on this year's workshop itinerary, but will be on the 2025 edition. Klingerfjord is part of an active volcanic system and is home to one of the most impressive geothermal areas in Iceland, nestled among dramatic peaks. The hills have a brownish, almost orange hue composed of rhyolites, just like the mountains in the Landmannalaugar. These rhyolites gives them a rusty appearance, and between the hills are splashes of vibrant blues, greens, reds, and yellows. With the addition of steams rising directly from the ground and the bubbling hot springs scattered throughout the area, you know you are in for an amazing experience. Photography-wise, I'm reasonably happy with what I got. The weather wasn't very cooperative the day we arrived, but it slightly improved the following day, when we got a brief window of decent conditions that allowed me to capture some nice shots before the weather turned harsh again. Once again, the telephoto lens proved to be an invaluable tool for photographing Iceland, at least for my personal taste. The wide-angle lens is excellent for certain scenarios, like waterfalls or when you want to include a closer object in the foreground. Well, in the end, it really depends on your personal taste and style. I have another cool episode about my trip to Iceland coming up next week, and before leaving I want to give you just a sneak peek. Oh, make sure to leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, and thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Ciao.